How wondrous are the changes since 50 years ago, when girls wore woolen dresses and boys wore pants of tow. Boots were made of cowhide, socks of homespun wool. Children did a half-day's work before they went to school. When girls took music lessons upon the spinning wheel, they practiced late and early on spindle swift and reel. Boys, they rode so far to mill, a dozen miles or more, and hurried off before 'twas day 50 years ago. When people rode to meeting in sleds instead of sleighs, wagons rode as easy as buggies nowadays. Oxen answered well for teams, though now they'd be too slow, for people lived not half so fast 50 years ago. Yes, everything has altered, I cannot tell the cause. Man is always tampering with nature's wondrous laws. What on earth we're coming to, does anybody know? Everything has changed so much since 50 years ago.
This one we call the Harris piece, and I learned it from an old-time lumberjack back when I was quite young. This Ellis Harris and a fellow by the name of Herbie Gordon. They were lumbering at the foot of Baldy Mountain in the Worcester Mountain Range, and we lived there. I lived there with my grandfather, and every Friday night, or Saturday night possibly, they would come and play their music, these old-time pieces. And at that time, of course, I never had seen anyone perform live, nor did I expect to. And so I was very impressed. At this time, I was about 10 years old, and I would sit in the corner trying to take in every bit of it. I loved the music, but I was trying to remember, and all the while saying to myself, one day I'm going to do that. I'm going to play those songs. My grandfather played the harmonica once in a while in the home, and my grandmother played the piano. And I guess that was where the love of these old songs really started. Back at the time when I was a child, I think music was these records, thanks to Victrola. And through the 20s, when Vernon Dalhart and the Arkansas Woodchopper, Lonesome Cowboy even led us into some Western-type things, Mac and Bob. I think it was, we just couldn't hardly believe it, because, of course, it was long before television or anything, and never having seen people perform live, it was almost magical. And I think that's why I tried to learn so many of those songs and remember them. And it meant a great deal. Anytime we had a chance to listen, we certainly did. Back when I lived in Worcester, we played for the Grange dances twice a month. We had great Grange there, great attendance, and the dance was the reason. They did what they called the round square dances, like Marching Through Georgia, and Darling Nellie Gray. And then we did some of the contra dance type, like Portland Fancy and Fisher's Hornpipe. They used to do the Virginia Reel a lot, and then of course they danced the round dances. But back at that time we had enough elderly people, so they loved to do the schottis and the gallo, along with the waltzes and foxtrot. Of course, a lot of the songs that I like very much are the hymn type.
Here are loved ones in the glory, whose dear forms you often miss. When you close your earthly story, will you join them in their bliss? Will the circle be unbroken by and by, in a better home awaiting, in the sky, Lord, in the sky, in the glorious days of childhood, oft they told of wondrous love, pointed to the dying Savior. Now they dwell with him above. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, in a better home awaiting, in the sky, Lord, in the sky. You remember songs of heaven which they sang with childish voice? Do you love the hymns they taught you, or are songs of earth your choice? Will the
song "Will the Circle Be Unbroken"? That was apparently one of my grandmother's favorites, and that was the last thing that she asked for, was me to play that song. So that does have really has a soft spot in my heart for that song.
Happy gatherings round the fireside long ago, and you think of tearful partings when they left you here below. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, by and by?
My mother and father used to play the saw, and my mother used to play the knives and spoons and sing the old songs, and she was a dancer, clogged and everything like that. And she played the piano, and we used to play at the kitchen junkets where the neighbors would come in and they'd have a good time. It was really a happy time. It wasn't, well, nothing special. Maybe sometimes the violin was out of tune or whatever, but it was music. I mean, it doesn't have to, it wasn't perfect, but I mean, it was music and everybody's happy with it.
Be unbroken by and by, by and by, in a better home awaiting, in the sky, Lord, in the sky.
I'm not a guitarist, really. I'm just simple. Playing a guitar when I'm down, it gives me a lift, and you can belt out a hymn. And if you do that, you know you got one good friend. Jesus is my neighbor, he lives next door to me. My door is open to him, I've given him the key. We sit beside the fireplace, as happy as can be. He seems to understand me, he lives next door to me. I like country music, but I call it mountain music. Because mountain music to me is everybody is playing their own thing. Nobody is playing, no two people play the guitar alike really, and everybody has their own style, and everybody sings their own way, and that's what makes mountain music a special.
The harmonica goes way back. I used to blow on it when I was real young. And the neighbors would say they could tell whether I was happy or I wasn't, because they could hear the harmonica coming. They knew I was happy. In 1935, my grandfather, I lived with my grandparents, and he purchased an old airline radio, and it took a set of batteries. Of course, we lived in a rural area. There was no electricity. And so by getting closer, real close to it, we could hear Nashville. And then over WDEV, of course, there were always performers like Dennis Parkhurst and Merton Long, Don Fields and the Pony Boys and Buddy Truax.
Here we are, Pony Boys, on the air to bring you joy. Sing and play every day on your radio. Send your request, you like bands, to find us on your dial. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up.
I guess during that time I was sort of a novelty, being able to play the violin and mandolin and or guitar and the mouth organ. I think they were surprised to see a woman doing this. And I think even today it is unusual.
If you really like music, it lifts your spirit, and it's a sound altogether different. You cannot live in the world without music of some kind. Nobody can.